Starting a new project can be quite scary. It often feels like standing in front of an empty canvas with literally no color inside. Especially in grander scale, it might just feel impossible. In my case, when starting to build a new city, you have to keep a lot of things in mind. It's not just putting down a few buildings and call it a day. Or is it? I mean, aside of planning infrastructures, water systems and massive landmarks, you just have to start. So it kinda is just putting a few buildings down and letting the city develop with time. And to put it into different words, to make something great, you have to make it exist first. And with that being said, yes, we're starting to build our city today, and don't worry, we're not calling it a day yet. There's still a bunch to do aside of these few buildings and docks over here. Having an ocean right next to us, as well as a bunch of rivers crossing through the land, we're gonna take advantage of it and make it a little harbor city. So the city will be heavily inspired by Venice, as well as the city of Bravos from Game of Thrones. So after quickly grabbing some materials, we don't just have more buildings and docks to add in today's video, but also the first bridge to get to the other side of the river over here. And since there's no time to waste really, I'm starting right away with the dock extension itself, adding a few more smaller boats and some more detail here and there basically. And while doing so, I realized that the design I had for the walls over here was total garbage, since it blends in too much with the stone used in the buildings, so I changed it all over again, basically building it out of darker blocks and moss, to give it a weathered and kind of wet look. And the same goes for the floor. I changed it to a more dirty, muddy kind of look, since I'm kinda guilty of using too much stone and grey, I'll be honest. But it does look quite a bit better now with the added contrast. Coming over to this side over here, we still have quite some space to fill with buildings until it's time for the first bridge in the area over there. So we basically have to come up with 2 to 3 buildings that make sense in this area of the harbor. So I might just add another crane and some sort of warehouse for the resources that are being stored in this sector of the harbor. I mean, even though the docks over here are small and not really meant for trading ships, you still have to carry around the cargo in some way. So I'm putting a little crane over here, not just to transport the cargo around, but also to make the area feel more alive and actually used. And to not make it too boring, I'm making it a bit diagonal. After a quick break, I went ahead and started with the storage room, which will be beneath the building that functions as housing for the harbor workers. And since there was some leftover space in between, I decided to squeeze another little building in for even more housing. And that is pretty much the number one solution if you don't know what to put somewhere in a city. Just add another building for housing. And it doesn't even have to be as detailed or big, since the amount of buildings in a city will actually do a lot in the end. And yeah, I haven't done the part above the storage room over here. But yeah, I guess we go straight back to building. And you could kinda say I'm obsessed with towers, so aside of tons of bridges, we'll also add quite some towers to the cityscape with time. This one in particular sort of functions as watchtower for the harbor workers to see when ships arrive, so they can prepare themselves in time to work with the cargo that has to be handled basically. And I'd say that didn't turn out too bad. With 2 buildings added, we have a lot more housing for the workers. On the other hand, we have the crane together with the storage room that gives them some sort of workplace as well. And while the 2 buildings might not be the most aesthetic and detailed on their own, I think they might just blend into the cityscape quite well. And the crane's quite fancy. In terms of the interior, I've added some basic ones already that we might alter a bit in the future to make it more fancy, but for now it makes sense since they're simple apartments sort of, and they don't need much, technically. I mean, they're poor harbor workers, they ain't got money, or at least not much. So moving on from these 2 buildings, we're having another simple build for housing right next to it, connected with a little bridge or gate to the tavern or inn over here. And last but not least, a little warehouse to store boats and to let them into the water again over here basically. So nothing crazy really, kept it quite simple. And aside of that, I've added some scaffoldings again. So yeah, you're gonna be able to parkour across the city again and climb on top of the buildings. I mean, as much as you're able to in Minecraft at least. Leaving this part behind for a bit, you can see that there's still enough space for quite a large building over here though. So it's time to come up with a building for that space, as well as the bridge that I had in mind right next to it, where the river is a bit more narrow basically. Luckily, we do still have quite a shulker monster at our ruins over here, so I'll organize them real quick and then we should have most of the materials that we need, hopefully. So after 20 minutes of sorting and grabbing some materials from here and there, we actually should have everything we need. Having all the materials together now, I gotta decide what to build first, and I actually think I'll put the bridge down first to see how much space there is left for the building between the bridge and the houses, so we can adjust that building to the space basically. So yeah, it's time to build the bridge. Having the bridge pretty much done, we can more or less see now how much space we have left for the building over here. So it's time to come up with some kind of idea for the building now. Looking from the top of the bridge, we have a kind of rectangular shape. It's not even that small, so I'd say we can go for a kind of larger build. I was thinking about adding a bell tower maybe. I'm not quite sure about the exact use of the entire build, but I might just gonna be purely aesthetic. So I'll probably use some lighter blocks, but you see for yourself. Doesn't look too bad after finally having the building in place, right? The only issue is the backside. We're not gonna talk about it. We're just gonna ignore that part for now and focus on the important stuff, which is the interior. For which I wanted to make some sort of altar or a statue over here maybe. And even though the building looks kinda like a church, I don't really want it to be one, since it's way too small, if we gotta be honest. So we definitely gotta figure out another use for it later. But for now, it's time to get some lights into place, so we can start building the little statues. Since I might just put another two into the corners here. I mean, if they turn out bad, I can still change it, right? And on the other hand, statues are quite difficult, and I barely ever made any. So I'm sure y'all will forgive me if they turn out not as good. And I mean, on this scale, you can't really expect that much. I mean, it's not much space. Onto the second one, I gotta say they're not too bad. I mean, a bit goofy, but for the scale, it's okay. Last but not least, the middle one over here, for which we have a bit more space, but I can't promise anything. Alright, like, it will probably be a bit goofy again. I have to be honest though, sculpting statues has always been one of my weak links. Never really liked it. So if I ever make a good statue, you guys gotta be proud, okay? I definitely want to build some statues though, especially in larger scale, but that's for another video. Definitely not today. And with that being said, I think we're kinda done with this beautiful statue. I might change it at some point, but for now, this gotta do, not gonna lie. I mean, the small ones aren't that bad. They're like white copper golems, sort of. Well, maybe I'm just hallucinating, but yeah. We're gonna head on to the next room over here though, for which I thought a little library could be nice. So let's see what we can do over here. And that's not too bad. Just gotta light up the candles over here real quick. I mean, it's quite dark at the moment, so we gotta get in some light. Also can't forget the ones in the library. Yeah, okay, never mind. Back to adding a few paintings at the entrance, and now finally finishing the light part inside of here. And it doesn't look too bad in my opinion. I'm just getting used to using too many candles though, not gonna lie. Like, the lanterns are just way too bright sometimes. Like, if you want some good atmosphere, you just have to use candles. And with that being said, gotta quickly add a bit more foliage in here for the atmosphere. I don't know, foliage just makes everything better, so quickly adding some grass around the statue over here as well. And yeah, seems like we're gonna switch out the candles at the top with lanterns. So much to say the candles are always better, huh? I think that's alright now, but I'm still not too happy with the foliage, not gonna lie. So we gotta do some here and there, kinda. Maybe some vines could work too. Adding some leaves in this area as well, and that should be pretty much alright. Some little flowers over here, and last but not least, I wanted to make some footprints out of leaf litter. Basically shaping the path the people took coming from outside. I mean, it kind of symbolizes the footprints as well as the dirt that they carry in with them, so yeah, the floor was just too empty in my opinion, so I wanted to change that. And together with the vines in place, I think we're pretty much done in here actually. I mean, it's not the fanciest, but it does the job kinda, so... We're just not ever gonna talk about the bell in the bell tower that you're not able to reach without an elytra because it's just there. I didn't want to ruin the aesthetics by a ladder that leads up there basically, so I might just put one on the outside. I don't know, but for now the library and the building are pretty much done. And the bell tower is actually quite useful since the harbor workers do have to know the time. I mean, they gotta know when their work starts, right? Coming over to the docks, I gotta say, also fits them pretty well. And looks quite sick too, so for now I'm kinda happy with it. So I think we can move to the other side of the river now with buildings, since there are a couple of buildings that I want to add over there. Alrighty, that's not too bad. It's actually coming together now with the buildings that we already have over here. And it's slowly feeling like a future city. Kinda. I mean, nonetheless, there's still a lot to do with this building, don't get me wrong. Since it's just a filler building for now, with no actual interior. But I don't want to do that today, since I want to put the focus on another build for now. Mainly because we're still at the start of this world, we don't have as many farms yet. Which is why I want to tackle another little farm for the end of the video today. And of course, we can't forget the docks on this side too. But in terms of the farms, I wanted to add an automatic wheat and carrot farm over here, covered by a bakery, with water access to be precise. So people are able to reach at least one vendor by boat. I mean, if we're already building canals and tons of bridges and boats, we also gotta be able to use them, right? So it just makes sense. But yeah, for now, it's time to introduce this world to legalized slavery today. And since we still have quite some resources, for once, we're not the slaves today, slaving away farming shulkers full of materials. But the villagers are gonna take our place, so before we start building, we have to get them over here. So crafting a couple of boats it is, and making our way over to the village over here, where I successfully bred the villagers for today. Quite sure they have been happy over here for quite a while. I mean, look at them. They're so joyous. I mean, I'd never keep them in some kind of basement where I don't want to be. Like, trust me, they like it here. But it's sadly time to kidnap them. I mean, just a couple. Like 6 probably for now, but we actually might need 7, so I'll probably just get that one later. So let the boat action begin, I guess. For now, I'm gonna just get them over here into the water, and then we can drive them over to the city later. I mean, we basically have a river right to the city, so... But for now, we're just gonna get all of them over here real quick, and then we're gonna craft some leads to get all of them over to the city. So, quickly crafting the leads over here, and then we're gonna put a lead on each and every single one of the boats, except for one. And then it's time for a little trip with our new friends, with our new friends, of course, because we get some beautiful shops over there in the city. And they're gonna be living in the same building as well, so they won't be split apart. I mean, that's something at least. Now we're just gonna remove the leads over here and never mind. How did the boats get down there? I mean, luckily the villagers can swim, so they didn't die, but that's weird. Now the only issue is that we have 2 in one boat, but never mind, that just made it worse. Okay, we're just gonna leave it as it is for now, and then we can do that later. Because for now it's a time to build again, since we do have all the villagers here and the materials that we need to at least build a couple of docks and hopefully all of the bakery as well. And if we don't, we just can get a couple of more resources, so that's fine. So quickly grabbing the shulkers and then it's building time. So added a couple of docks for now, and it's not looking too bad. We got a couple of boats as well over here and there. And yeah, it's looking all good so far. Except for that. Yeah. I don't think I have to say anything about that. Like, shit happens. We're just gonna turn them back into villagers once we've built the bakery. So yeah, at least the boats are looking alright. And I'd say we just hop back straight into building. So we can put the farms into the bakery and let them start running for resources. Which will be completely legal labor. And no slavery at all, of course. Totally. And that pretty much concludes the little bakery over here. Now the only issue left is the villagers, so we gotta go back to our starter base real quick to get the potions and the golden apples. Back at home, I think we should have everything we need spread out in our storage system, so it's basically just brewing them real quick. I mean, luckily it's not too difficult. I mean, only need a fermented spider eye as well as 1 gunpowder, I think, and some golden apples, of course. Now we're just gonna make them into splash potions real quick, and now we're done. Now we're just gonna go back to the villagers and use the potions and golden apples on them and wait like 5 minutes, I think. I don't remember how long it was, to be honest, so don't come at me. So now we just gotta get over to the boat over there. Okay, never mind. We're not gonna talk about it. We're just gonna use the potions real quick, and here we go. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And the last one. There we go. Now we're just gonna wait a bit, and then we can start with the beautiful legal labor in the city. And in the meantime, it's time to put a couple of rails down to get the villagers into the building later on. I mean, I'm just using rails because it's the most convenient to me, since there's quite a few blocks around that the villagers would run to get their job, which I really don't want to deal with, because that would be quite annoying and it would waste a lot of time. And even with the rails, the next 20 minutes are just gonna look like this, so I spare you guys the pain. I really can't wait to make a villager trading hall. It's gonna be lots of fun and pain. But having the last one at the bottom in place is just 2 for the farms and 1 for the boat side, I think. So it's not too bad. It's not too bad. And with this one, we're finally having all of them in place now. In a sec. Yes, there it is. Now we're just gonna remove the blocks and we're finally done with the villagers. Having them in place and the farms running, we basically have enough passive packed mud and food for most of the time at least. We don't have to do anything for it. And that means no more robbing villages for their hay bales, so I'd say it's a win for all of us, kinda. But yeah, that was pretty much the last thing we had to do today. And over here we can just trade with the villagers, and back there are the chests where we can get the wheat and the cars from the farms, which are basically 1 floor above us. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And with nothing left to do, I'd say we're at the end of the video for now. And I just want to tell you guys again, if you ever find yourself stuck at building, not even able to start maybe because of your perfectionism, it doesn't really matter how you start. Like, it doesn't have to be great or perfect from the beginning. It just matters that you do start and make something exist at first. And with that being said, I really appreciate you guys for watching so long. I hope you enjoyed the video, and yeah, you can find the Word download in the description, and I guess I'll see you in the next one.